After 7 years of waiting, truly not that long, Silk Song has been released to critical success. However, there is one ongoing controversy about the game, that being its difficulty. The boss fights are punishing, the runbacks are cruel, and most pertinent to this video, the platforming is extremely challenging. Now, in reality, this is barely a problem with the game. That's not what I'm here to discuss, though. This is a science channel. I don't even wish to talk about the game itself, but actually its predecessor, Hollow Knight. Hollow Knight is the other genre-defining, critically acclaimed game produced by Team Cherry. At the time, the game was also hounded for its difficulty, and specifically one location, the White Palace. The White Palace is the penultimate platforming challenge in Hollow Knight. It's filled with spikes, thorns, death stuff, and very anti-thematically to the rest of the game, sawblades. And I'm sure you, if you have played the game, being a silly little inquisitive guy, have wondered just how many sawblades are in the White Palace. And of course, the most reasonable extension of this question, which everybody has thought, just how much is it costing the Pale King to run his sawblades? That's what I'm here to answer, because there's nothing scarier to discuss on Halloween than utility bills. Ooh. This is Scidia, where we explore the fictional science of very fictional media. Now let's break down the question. To answer the question, just how much is it costing the Pale King to run his sawblades, we are going to need to answer the first question, just how many sawblades are in the White Palace. We will then need to know the power drawn by each of these sawblades. After gathering this data, we can use this formula. The number of sawblades times the power drawn in kilowatts or joules per second times the cost of electricity in cents per kilowatt hour. This will give us the money required to run the White Palace every hour, which we can then use to do all sorts of fun calculations. So we have 3 items on our to-do list. First, count the sawblades. Second, research how much power a sawblade would draw. And third, find the monetary conversion. I'm actually going to be starting with that third task. So how exactly do we find this number? We're going to be doing some estimating, something you will hear a lot from this video and this channel. We will almost never be able to glean accurate data from media, so the best we can do is estimate. This is fiction after all, so no matter what our conclusion is, it will never be accurate to anything realistic. With that being said, what number do we want to use? Finding electricity costs in cents per kilowatt hour is actually quite easy. Simply Google price of electricity in cents per kilowatt hour in and then a place. Since Hollow Nest is not real, we're going to have to find some kind of real-world Hollow Nest analog. Hollow Nest, being an abandoned, zombie-filled landscape, led me to settle with Detroit. After some quick research, I was able to find this number. Now that we have the cost, being 19 cents per kilowatt hour, we can tackle the much more difficult other questions. We're now going to work on my least favorite part of this project, counting the sawblades. Now, in reality, this could be super easy. Let's just type into Google, how many sawblades are in the White Palace? Ah, look, a Reddit thread. They always know what they're talking about. Okay, 42. Okay, so I've searched the rest of the internet. I can't find anything quick and reliable for the amount of sawblades in the White Palace, so fine.
I'll do it myself.
Now, as you can tell, I'm cheating. Doing this without the debug mod would be near impossible and would give highly inaccurate data at that. It would also be quite a miserable experience. Now, of course, if I get 1,000 likes on this video, I may be inclined to do so. I'm using the debug mod to no-clip through the saws. I have a printed out map of the White Palace on my left with every room transition marked and numbered. I'm counting every saw per transition and then writing it down. Using the debug mod and this method, it only took me about half an hour or so. It was a surprisingly easy time. Now with that being said, how many saws were there? Drum roll, please. 250 saws. I was really not expecting such a nice number, like, at all. I'm almost certain Team Sherry did that on purpose to get such a good number. Now, initially, I thought this task was going to be extremely hard. There are many sizes of saw blades, and each may require a different wattage. I would have to use estimations of the knight's height to estimate the size of the saws, and to an extent, yes, saws have varying wattages. However, I can't find a good chart dictating how size affects the power drawn. Really, it comes down to the motor turning the saw, and not actually the saw itself. We can assume, despite the size difference, the same power motor can turn all these saws at a fast enough RPM that it would cut open a bug. Now, if you have any disagreements or outside knowledge that would change my results, go ahead, leave a comment down below. Now, with all that being said, I decided to use the average power saw wattage being 1200 watts, or 1.2 kilowatts. And with that, we now have all the info we need to get our results. Alright kiddos, let's do some math. All we gotta do is plug in the numbers into the equation we found earlier. For the number of saws, we have 250. This is an amount, so we can consider this to be dimensionless or unitless. We will then multiply that by 1.2 kilowatts, giving us a total of 300 kilowatts. We can then multiply this by the previous 19 cents per kilowatt hour to get our answer. The kilowatts will cancel, and we will get our answer in cents per hour. Now, if you're a fan of the channel Wrath of Math, you'll know there is a difference between cents and dollars. Converting this to get our final answer, we find that the Pale King spends $57 every hour running his sawblade fetish dungeon. Kind of underwhelming. Think of just how long he has had his fetish dungeon running since the fall of Hollow Nest. Every hour, $57. Every day, $1,368. Every year, $499,320. That's $500,688 on a leap year. Now, I can't convert all this to Geo. This might just be a drop in the bucket of Hollow Nest's economy. I sure as hell can't afford it, though.
You guys made it to the outro. Thank you so much for watching. I actually really had a really fun time making this video. I really like the numbers that we ended up getting, the 250, the 54, everything just came out really nice for this one. I had a really fun time making it. I have some other new videos in the works as well. I got one that I'm currently working on, TF2 rocket jumping. I'm probably also going to make a channel trailer, stuff like that. But, again, thank you guys so much for watching. I'm just a first-year physics student. I really don't know much about this stuff, so I probably got some stuff in the video wrong. I kind of made a joke about it with the whole, comment down below thing, but, seriously, if you guys have any disagreements, seriously, put something in the comments. I really want to start, a discussion on the science and the math behind this. This is really fun stuff to work on, just BSing math into stuff where there shouldn't be any. So, do all the YouTube stuff, subscribe, again, comment your opinions. Hopefully, I will see you guys in the next video.